The afternoon light softened as Ethan and Maya made their way back down the trail. Their footsteps fell into an easy rhythm, as if they had been walking together for much longer than a few hours. Sometimes they spoke, sometimes they didn't. Neither felt awkward. At the parking area, Maya leaned against her dusty blue SUV and glanced at Ethan's silver sedan. "So," she said, lifting an eyebrow, "still don't know where you're going?" Ethan smiled. "Not really. Just west, I guess. Or wherever the road looks interesting." "That's dangerously close to my life philosophy," she replied. "I was heading toward Glacier Point for sunset. You should come. It's not something you forget." He hesitated. Not because he didn't want to go, but because he hadn't expected company on this journey. He had imagined solitude, silence, and long conversations with his own thoughts. But something about Maya felt right. Not intrusive. Not demanding. Just present. "All right," he said finally. "Lead the way." They drove in a loose convoy, windows down, music drifting from Maya's car. Soft, acoustic, the kind that felt like memories you hadn't lived yet. The road climbed, curving through forests that smelled of sun-warmed bark and earth. At a pull-off, they parked and walked toward the overlook. The valley opened beneath them, vast and glowing, painted in shades of gold and deep green. Waterfalls caught the light, sparkling like fireflies frozen in motion. Ethan stood still, overwhelmed. "I used to think success meant being busy," he said quietly. "Deadlines. Meetings. Always moving." Maya nodded. "And now I think I was just afraid of stopping." She looked at him. Really looked at him this time. "What were you afraid you'd see?" Ethan exhaled slowly. "That I didn't know who I was without all of it." The sun dipped lower, shadows stretching long across the valley floor. The world felt suspended, balanced between day and night. They sat on the edge of the overlook, legs dangling carefully, sharing a bag of trail mix Maya pulled from her backpack. "So what happened?" she asked gently. "You don't have to answer." Ethan stared at the horizon. "I lost my job. Or, I quit, depending on how you look at it. I spent 10 years building a life that didn't feel like mine anymore." "And the relationship?" Maya asked, not unkindly. He gave a small, sad smile. "Ended the same way it lived. Quietly. We both knew it was over long before we said it out loud." Maya was silent for a moment. Then she said, "I used to think endings were failures. And now I think they're invitations." The sun disappeared behind the mountains, leaving the sky painted in soft purples and burning oranges. Ethan felt something shift inside him, subtle but undeniable. They drove back down in the dark, headlights cutting through the forest. When they reached the main road, Maya pulled over. "I'm camping near the river tonight," she said. "You're welcome to join. No pressure." Ethan considered the empty motel he had planned to sleep in. Then he thought of the river, the firelight, the stars. "I'd like that," he said. The campsite was quiet, tucked away beneath towering trees. The river nearby murmured steadily, a sound both calming and ancient. Maya built a small fire with practiced ease, sparks rising to meet the stars. They sat across from each other, warmth on their faces, shadows dancing around them. "Why do you come out here alone?" Ethan asked. Maya poked at the fire. "I used to be a photographer for a big travel magazine. Always chasing the next shot. Always rushing. Used to be. I burned out. Lost the joy. So I left. Now I take photos for myself. Places like this help me remember why I fell in love with it." Ethan nodded. "It's strange how far we can drift from ourselves." "Not strange," she said. "Human." The fire crackled. An owl called somewhere in the darkness. Ethan reached into his backpack and pulled out the letter. He turned it over in his hands. "What's that?" Maya asked. "A letter I've been avoiding. Want company while you read it?" He hesitated, then unfolded the paper. It was from his father. They hadn't spoken in years. Pride, misunderstandings, distance, things that grew quietly and hardened over time. The letter was short. I heard you left your job. I won't pretend I understand all your choices, but I want you to know something I never said enough. I was proud of you. Not for what you did, but for who you are. I hope one day we can talk again. Ethan's vision blurred. He hadn't realized how much he needed those words until they were right in front of him. Maya didn't speak. She didn't need to. I think, Ethan said softly, folding the letter, I've been running from more than I admitted. Maybe, Maya replied. Or maybe you've been running toward it. They stayed up late, talking about everything and nothing. About places they'd been. About fears they hadn't voiced. About the strange comfort of being honest with someone who wasn't part of your past. When Ethan finally lay in his tent, listening to the river, he realized something. For the first time in a long while, he wasn't thinking about what he'd lost. He was thinking about what he might still find.